All right, Keenan, we're here talking about your extended essay. This is our last real formal conference before summer break. So it's like my first review of your first real rough draft. And what I found, just quickly, let's cut to what's really good. When we get down to the use of symbolism is nice right here. And then your body paragraphs, you get into some really very interesting topics that I think...
Something weird happened over here.
Yeah, the formatting is wonky as heck, but that's Quick Office in beta. That's why it's beta. But it's primarily because we've opened a Word doc in Google Docs through ManageBack. And so anyway. We'll come back to these in just a minute. I want to look at just this overarching kind of start. Obviously, the last thing we'll do, or something you can continue to work on, is your intro with Anime in the West.
They didn't want the intro and conclusion until next year.
Yeah,
Okay.
Totally. But as far as what Evangeline is, a lot of what you have here, I think it might help to introduce Hideki Anno first.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And
that's how I originally had it, but like the way it played out, I felt it was more important to talk with the series. It's just hard, especially with this series, to kind of analyze it. Like, I know this is what Ivy wants us to do, to analyze it as if they've seen the series, but like I know they obviously haven't, and they always have the need to like sort of summarize and describe it.
Sure. I think a lot of this will come out, though, and will be much more appreciated if we just start with this guy.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, much of what you have here, while very insightful, we need documentation.
Okay.
So almost everything, you'll want to introduce the sources.
In the quote, like in
your essay.
Okay.
In your essay.
No, I mean like in the essay, do I put it in parentheses or
No,
just
I'm
say
saying
from this website?
Not even from this website. You're going to want to do some more research and find out who this person or group of people is that created the website as best you can.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And say something to the effect of Hideki Anno, the anime director and creator of Evangeline, or is that how you Evangelion.
Yeah.
Sidebar, Evangeline, or Evangeline is the name of a pretty famous poem. And if you don't see it, it's the root, of course, is evangelical, right? And so it's not an accident, especially considering the subject matter, that we've got this very close linguistic relationship to something that's evangelical. But introduce him and then say his work is so popular that, fans and critics alike have, attempted to interpret his work. Some of the foremost critics or authorities on Hideki Anno are, and then introduce these people.
All right.
Okay, and so then once you introduce them by name, then we start saying things like Oviedo argues that Anno is a very peculiar anime director, and he resents the over-commercialization of anime, and Putzbach points out that he is disgusted by the exaggerated fan service, and Medeiros highlights how he perceives these people to be children hiding under blankets. You want to give specific attribution to whomever it is that said this stuff. Okay? That's part of the research angle.
I think part of it is like there was no, for this school also, like I didn't even cite half of the sources I got from this because I didn't find them until I started writing the essay, honestly. Like I've used like half of the sources I had beforehand, and then half of them I just like, because like when I'm writing like Sigmund Freud and stuff, I didn't find that out until like researching about the series. So what I'm trying to say is that like most of these are just from like random fans.
Okay,
Like, so
that's
do I
fine.
cite them? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
All right.
but we need to, these claims, if they are, and you definitely want to keep track. I mean, if this is where you're getting your ideas from,
Okay.
regardless of however good they may be, and perhaps what you'll come to discover is that some of these claims are over exaggerated claims about how much he despises them.
Okay, I always do that.
Right?
Yeah.
So you definitely want to take meticulous notes while you're researching.
okay,
I mean,
yeah.
and by meticulous, I just mean copy whatever page you're on and save it to your research page with
Yeah,
a
I
little
would-
note underneath it or the quote. Use your copy and paste. It's not too much to do, but it's very important to keep track of it so that we set this up in a way that it is a research paper, that it's not, it comes across right now that you have, somehow flown to Japan and, tracked him down and, pulled all of this out of him from an interview. Now, I think, again, as we...
What does blue mean?
I'm just separating, these are two very different ideas.
Okay, yeah.
And we're going to use different paragraphs, and a lot of what you have needs to be just taken more slowly and examined more thoroughly. And this is where you can begin to bring in maybe some of these parts about what is Evangelion, right? Instead of just having it up here, you could introduce some of the series, important understandings of the 26 episodes, how it ends and stuff like that. So,
And is it appropriate to talk about the ending of the series in the first paragraph?
of course,
Okay.
you're
Alright.
again. The assumption is that you have read everything, studied it, read this thing backwards, forwards, up and down. You're not. Spoiler alerts are for
Okay.
ETV, okay, not for scholarly academic work. In many cases, the end is where we're going to begin for our
That is
analysis.
where everything happens in the series.
Yep, and that's the majority of your focus, right? Is how weird this gets, and why it's weird, and why that's good in your opinion, and what it's standing for in terms of the symbolism and allusions to existentialism and psychological theory. One point I would suggest is that, so here we've got this, so we've got two ideas. We've got the deconstruction of the anime medium, and it's a post-modern meta-commentary on the state of mid-90s anime. Okay, that's at least a chapter.
Okay, so
in your
I should
EE.
elaborate about that before going into the...
Not necessarily, but for right now, if this is just an overview, then you're going to give us a new paragraph,
Okay.
right? And I envision this as these. I think you're going to find that this grows, and so that these, what you're calling bodies, are going to be chapters.
And do you think... What is the
Because it's
maximum
gonna
word
be-
limit for this essay?
That's a good question. Anybody know what the max word limit for EE is? Is it 3,000? 45? 4,000.
Okay, alright, that's good, because this is already at like 3,000.
Yeah.
I don't even have the intro and conclusion.
Right, but part of it is editing.
Yeah, I have to take a lot of this out too. So,
Right.
Yeah. 'Cause I
So
was
don't,
thinking
don't worry
that.
about that. Don't worry about word length.
Okay.
Don't worry about any of that. We just want to get these ideas down. And you've done a good job with that. I'm just suggesting that the next time you go through, if you're kind of stymied, or a good way to get back into it after a couple of weeks off from it is to do some editing work, some revision, moving stuff around and seeing how that works. So this would be another paragraph with the sexualization of and objectification of the young women. It is, so you've got an example of it The scene is effective
feel
mostly
this
due
should
to
also not be in this paragraph. I think I could talk about that in a different paragraph because like it relates to how Ano uses it, but it's not necessarily about him. This is talking about more of like how he sees the fans and stuff. Do you think this is appropriate for this paragraph, or should I move it somewhere else?
At this point, I'm just suggesting that there's a distinction between what you have here, where it's like these fans, audiences expect to be able to insert themselves in the series through their imagination by putting themselves in the place of protagonists. They can use this action and experience to engage in relationships and fictional characters for acts of heroism and bravery not possible in real life, all the while by being represented by a socially awkward, withdrawn teenage boy. So that is not a depraved behavior. What is depraved is, if they are sexualizing, young girls and they're hoping or they're getting all excited about that specific scene, and that specific scene is calling them out on their depraved behavior, or at least highlighting an awareness.
I think I just phrased it oddly because I was trying to separate it into like the audiences being able to do that, and then like separating it to the specific fans that like fantasize about these characters. I was trying to,
and we don't know. Per se, but in terms of an analysis, again, just look at this like a written assignment. What are the strategies the author uses to create an effect? You can't get into the minds of every audience member, and it's impossible to know, right? But as far as saying what Ano is doing, you can certainly make the claim that in this specific scene, and you can look at it more again later, but in this scene, yes, there is evidence that he is highlighting the problem of anime in general as a postmodern critique of anime, and especially the results of having these kinds of objectified, depersonalized, sexualized relations. But anyway, just wanted to. That's why that's in yellow. I'm saying what's here. That's why people like all kinds of books, right? Is they identify with it, but it suggests that you're calling this behavior depraved. You're not making clear that what's depraved is what's going on here. That's all I'm saying. Okay. This could work as a great introduction to any of it.
So you don't think it's
this
there?
is well, no. I'm just saying it's a good example of some clear writing. It's not got a lot of what you're saying is easily attributed to you, right? This is your analysis and insight, right? And what it deals with, again, this is an excellent thesis statement for an analysis of Evangelion, right here.
Maybe I will put that in the intro paragraph.
Yeah. Loss of identity, the meaning of existence, the nature of truth, the problems of binary morality, and the concept of God, and the stigmatization of mental illness. That's a lot. That's good. It's a lot, but it's good. So, at that point, we then move back into this kind of biography of Ano. And I think it is helpful, and it is interesting. And I'm not sure. I guess that's part of it. You're not going to be able to look at all 26 episodes. You're not going to be able to take us through episode 1 up through
26 and then like the movie.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. This could easily be a master's thesis, That's what I mean by chapters. This could turn into something really big. You could be the first person, you end up on, what's the thing that I always have you guys do? Questia.
Yeah.
Dr. Oviedo, because it is. I mean, it's legit. It's as legit as Persepolis, and there's plenty of people that have gotten their master's and doctoral degrees analyzing graphic novels. Why can't you do it? Knock an anime out of the park. Boom. But for this purpose, for this paper, 4,000 words, you might want to focus on, a very brief, very, very brief kind of.
Okay, so I think.
Okay, no judgment. Very brief summary, and then it looks like you've got some second half of the series, right?
Yeah, I think I should.
How many episodes are there?
All right, so there's 26 episodes, and I think I want to focus on 25 and 26 because those are the most important. But the thing is, those 2 episodes, like, so many people complained about it that they made the movie The End of Evangelion was made to complement that and serves almost as it takes place instead of that, but it's at the same time they take place at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. They're I'm trying to think what movie would.
You don't have to.
Okay, yeah.
I hear what you're saying
about those 2 episodes and the movie. I think those would be the best to analyze because you can't really talk about one without the other.
Okay. I wouldn't stress. I mean, I would focus on 25 and 26, and I would focus on the movie. Keep writing, keep working, and don't force your attempt to explain how they operate sequentially or simultaneously to a reader. Just keep focused on that, what the author's doing to create an effect.
All right.
Right? And it might, and you could easily say, the film is made an answer to help clarify. You don't have to say because fans are so confused. Maybe whatever. If you can get a quote from Anno that says, I made this movie because so many babies were whining, then great, use that.
All right.
But otherwise, it is what it is.
All right.
It's another representation of this. Perhaps because it was so successful. Perhaps because, somebody threw some money at him. Who knows? But what we want to look at is that analysis of what the author's doing. And in the film, you then might want to, stay focused on, kind of how these symbols are. How do the strategies that Anno uses so successfully, or not, in the anime? How do they work once animated, literally?
All right, okay.
And are they as successful or not? That's always a solid EE. How successful is it? Because you're making claims as to whether or not the artist whether this strategy is as successful. It doesn't mean that it's a pass-fail. Like, oh, he really sucks, or oh, he's amazing, and just all these flowing adjectives. It's a very, critical, taking it down and going, hey, at this level, these ideas are definitely communicated more clearly and people get it, or I get it. Whereas in the film, they had to sacrifice some stuff just because we can't get as much packed in. But I think that's going to be the approach.
All right, yeah, for sure. All right, that makes a lot more sense.
But keep it tight. 25 and 26 in the film sounds good.
Yeah.
Because it gets to, you're right. I mean, it's just you're having to explain too much.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
And you only have 4,000 words. So, but I like what I'm seeing with Jung and Freud and the mental illness. I can't stress it enough, though, that you want to get your citations in here.
All right, yeah. Okay.
It's crucial. It makes your work so much stronger.
So I just refer to it in the text, right?
I mean, just put in
and
parenthetical citations. For some of it. I mean, if it's coming straight out of Evangelion.
Yeah.
Put the page number or the
Episode.
or I mean, if it's anime, it's going to be an episode, and then it's probably
A time mod.
okay.
I think it actually is based off of a graphic novel.
Yeah.
But the graphic novel, it's really weird. So like they made the graphic novel
Uh-huh.
and the show they started creating after that. It's still made by Anno.
Uh-huh.
But the graphic novel series ended after the show did. The show ended before.
And the graphic novel kept going?
The graphic novel ended like last year, and this show ended like 10 years ago.
Oh wow.
But
Okay.
I feel like that would be way too confusing to talk about because there's a lot of
Yeah.
differences.
And I'm sorry, I was confused when I was discussing episodes. So episodes 25 and 26 are animated.
Yeah.
The Evangelion is just so what, an episode is usually how long?
Like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the film is
An hour 30.
okay. Excuse me. Yeah, put a time mark.
Okay.
Yeah. And all the more important because that's going to take time for you to reference, right?
Well, I have them all on my computer.
Okay,
I've
cool.
watched them before I started writing.
Okay, all right, cool. And then if you're referencing Freud, if you're using Jung, wherever you're getting it,
All right.
we need that
Yeah.
citation. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. So just to recap, keep doing what you're doing. We're going to focus more on episode 25 and 26 and the film. You're looking at the strategies the author uses to create effects as the primary idea behind this.
All right.
And it could be how he's presenting or representing the ideas of back here, thesis statement, binary morality, concept of God, mental illness, nature of truth, loss of identity, meaning of existence. Awesome. But we're going to be referencing those from wherever the information comes.
All right, yeah.
Okay? That's the big stuff. And with that, yeah, just keep going.
All right.
Cool. Beta.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go.